Hey, what's going on, guys? Kale Mike with easiestbusiness.com. Today I want to bring you a simple topic that I think can be very confusing for people when they first start out bidding jobs by the blueprints, by the drawings, especially when it's commercial work. It's plans versus specs. So when the plans and the specs are different, a lot of times that can confuse people. Which one do you go with? Some people will tell you go with what's on the plans. Some people will tell you that the specs always overrule the plans no matter what the plans say. I don't think neither of those statements really are inherently true. Having the experience that I have in commercial project management and commercial estimating over the years, I found that it could go either way really. It all depends on the architect, and it depends on the owner that's having the architect draw up the plans and what the building owner wants to do. So here's the way I approach it. If you don't want to make phone calls to every GC every time there's a discrepancy between the plans and the specs, this is how I do it. So basically, what it boils down to in its simplest form is you're going to want to take the most expensive option. So you're going to want to do the most expensive option on your proposal. So the most expensive option is the one you're going to go with. So if the plans call for Promar 200 on the walls and the specs call for ScuffX, I'm going to go with the specs. If the specs call for Promar 200 on the walls and the plans call for ScuffX, I'm going with ScuffX. That's what I'm bidding. You always want to bid your worst case scenario regardless of what's there. So you don't ever want to underbid, because they'll try to hold you to that number a lot of times and you could lose money that way. And your most important goal at the end of the day is you need to pay your overhead as a contractor, which is your employees as well, and then you need to make money. You need to put money in the company bank account to take care of things like advertising, losses in the future. I mean, who knows? You're going to get a bad job every now and then, but you definitely need to go with the most expensive option. So that's the first thing I would do. You could always call if you want to. Call, that's always an option. But I wanted to kind of write here on the whiteboard and kind of show you how I do it. So let's say this is my proposal for short, and I have my description of kind of what I'm going to do here on the proposal. What I like to do is I like to label everything: walls, doors. I like to put every single substrate that I'm painting, base, on my proposal. Includes, like an includes line with a colon, and then below that I like to put walls, doors, base, frame, whatever. I don't want there to be any confusion on my bid. So I want, when the GC looks at it, I want him to see everything that I'm painting. And sometimes on the big jobs, I may have to list out 25 or 30 scope items here. So I want to list out everything. I don't want there to be any confusion, because a lot of times the GCs will call you back and they'll say, hey, did you pick up this? Hey, did you pick up this? I don't want to be fielding phone calls all day after I just spent, an hour bidding this job. Maybe it's a $200,000 job. Maybe there's 16 GCs that are bidding it. I don't want to take 16 phone calls about this bid when I could be out, running the show here on the job site or bidding other jobs. So you really want to make it efficient. You want to list everything you have. And I even want to take that a step further. When there's a discrepancy here on the plans versus the specs, on walls, if I'm going to go with ScuffX and they're in the specs, but Promar 200 on the plans, I'll say walls, ScuffX per spec section 099, or whatever spec section that you found that in. That's, you want to call that out on your line item. Doors, if there's a discrepancy and the cheaper thing is in the specs rather than the plans, I'd say per sheet A for architectural, because that's where you're going to find most of your paint work, 7.1 or whatever, or and then you can put like door schedule, and then so on and so forth. So like I said, this is an example. If everything on the drawing is more expensive, this is an example of if something in the spec section was more expensive. So you want to go line by line. If there's no discrepancy though, like let's say base, there's no discrepancy. It just, in the specs, it just says paint. And on the plane it says paint Promar 200 or Pro Classic or whatever they want you to paint it, and there's no discrepancy, I would just have, wood base in here, like wood base. I wrote that backwards, but you get the idea. So that's kind of how I deal with things. If there's a discrepancy between the plans and the specs, they say different things. It can create a lot of confusion. You don't know what to do. You may underbid it. You could kind of mess yourself over that way. And then you may have to field a bunch of phone calls because the GCs, when they get their bids, they're going to have bids from a bunch of different painting contractors, and they're going to need to compare every bid apples to apples, because my bid might be more expensive, but I may have covered more line items here in my bid. So they're really going to be confused if you don't break out the line items, and that's how I do my proposals. So yeah, just a quick little video today. Down in the description below will be a link to my free downloadable proposal template. You can just delete my information off the template, add your own. Go get that. All you gotta do is put in your email address. I hand type everything and send them back out, so it may take me a little while to get back to you, but that's pretty much gonna do it for today. So thanks, guys.